Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to podcast. Welcome to.
That's the intro.
Yeah, that's the intro. Yeah, you weren't ready for that.
No,
But
I
wait,
really wasn't.
but wait, there's more. And in
There's-
this corner, hailing from parts unknown, it's Jaski.
Oh, hi. I mean, yeah,
All right.
I would consider me more parts unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, just vague, mysterious woodland area. And in the other corner, weighing 275 pounds, with a record of 0 wins, 3 losses, and 17 traffic violations, 4 of which are outstanding, it's Wilson.
You know the specifics of both of my weight and my traffic warrants. With
The internet is a wonderful place. It's also public record.
That it is.
Look.
That it is.
All right, how are you guys doing today?
Hot.
Hot. Hot is the correct
It is.
term.
I am warm.
Yep.
Let me just reach over to my desk and whip out the desk thermometer I got here. Desk thermometer says it is 85.5 degrees.
Yep, that's probably about what my office is running right now as well. Even with the AC on, it's just I'm not in a room that is thermally inclined to staying one constant temperature. So,
Yep.
and it's only going to get worse. It's the one reason I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not going back to camp, because at least up there, it's not going to be hotter than 87 degrees.
Yeah, but
Most of
I
the time.
got one of those Snapchat memories from 5 years ago when it was snowing when we got up there. So
That's
the
fair.
devil you know
How
versus the devil you don't.
can we acknowledge the fact that, well, at least for me, this will be this Sunday, tomorrow will be the from when we're recording, will be the first staff week start day that I won't be at camp. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
The first time in 7 years.
Well, my thoughts and prayers are with your family.
Oh God, yeah, they have to deal with me for a full summer for
They
the
have to deal
first
with
time
you
in
for
6
the-
years too.
Mm-hmm. The entire summer.
So before we get into it, anything new and exciting going on other than melting?
Literally everything I own is packed into 4 duffel bags and waiting to be loaded onto a trailer,
Oh,
which will be hauled
right.
behind a shitty 2003 Buick LeSabre with the rear shocks pretty much blown out. So,
And I know you keep saying you live in Havel, Alaska, but we also stated that you live close enough to Mount Shasta and Castle Craig to hike there. So your location isn't super secret. But
yeah.
you are departing the great state of California for where?
Yeah, Northern California for college in Eastern Kansas.
Wait a minute. By the time this episode goes up, you will have left your current location, yes?
I have
Yes.
left, and I will have probably moved into whatever house I'm going to be renting out there.
Wait, do you not have a location you're moving into?
I've got a few probables, and for the time being, I am putting all of my stuff in an Airstream trailer conveniently parked on some of my family's land.
There you go.
The convenient trailer option. You gotta love it.
Yep. I that's all I have to say about that. There is an Airstream on a plot of land somewhere in Kansas that I will be living in, along with probably some of the Unabomber types. So, don't judge me too
God.
harshly.
Hey, that is very well.
Speaking of it, speaking of the current air temperature in our various locations, I don't think you're trying. I think you have convinced Jaski and I to come visit you at some point, but there's a bit of a argument as to what season of the year we're going to do it. Because Jaski thinks February is the optimal time to visit the Midwest.
And that will be when there are the fewest amount of travelers and people. Therefore, flight tickets should be at the cheapest.
Yeah,
Right, but Jaski, you are 1 degree removed from our reptilian brothers, so
yes,
you might enjoy the cold. But
just maybe.
Do you know how reptiles work, Wilson?
I realized it just after I said it. I'm very tired.
It's okay. Reptiles are very similar to Lemurians, and Lemurians enjoy the cold since they live underneath Mount Shasta. This is a known fact.
Long story short, what's the high temperature average? Like -6 or something?
Gets up into the low 10s.
God, Jesus.
The low tens is a high. Nice.
I
I
hate it.
I am joking. There are cold fronts that come and go. But it does dip down to -3 and below
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'll be visiting. I'm gonna go in February because I want cheap tickets, but
Look, one of the
Uh-huh.
I
final
will
Uh-huh.
be.
of hypothermia makes you feel warm. So, if you come in February and just wear a Hawaiian shirt, in no time, you'll feel peachy.
Great.
Want to feel like a
Alrighty.
peach.
Hairy
Anyway,
and mushy?
couple couple notes I wanted to hit on from the last episode because
Yes.
the the huddled throngs upon the internet were very intrigued at our realization that the the English subtitles for MASH said crochet your titties. Many people
Yes,
did
that
not
was
many people did not notice that until we pointed it out. And
Mhm.
they kind of I don't want to say they hate us for it, but they're definitely like that's information we could have lived without. But
Well, now they have it, and you know what? I'm okay with that. It's like that story of I think it was from Plato or some other philosopher where there's a bunch of people huddled in the cave watching the shadows on the wall. If those are our cave dwellers and they're listening to and watching the shadows we throw upon that wall, that's their own fault.
that that is not at all what that be no. Okay, let's not delve into the topics of psychology and philosophy again. How about that?
yeah, some anyone out there with a psych major is just face palming right now.
Their forehead has slammed through the roof of their car and into the pavement outside. That's how hard they face palmed.
The pavement that's
You
below them.
also just called our audience cave people, so we're gonna move on from that. So
Please send your complaints to our lawyers who are currently
no, it's me. I run the social media. They're gonna send their complaints to me. Anyway, so where are we at? Episode what now? 3, 5, 12? Where are we at?
Episode
Episode
3.
3. Requiem for a lightweight. So something I've been forgetting to do with these episodes is because we do want to give credit where credit is due. We've been naming the actors, but not the directors, writers, etc. So I'll throw out that this episode aired October 1st, 1972. It's the third episode of the first season, written by Robert Klane and developed for television by Larry Gelbart. And director was Averback. Robert Klane and Averback we're going to see a lot of throughout the series. They are kind of the go-to, right? Some of the go-to writers they bring in off and on, kind of on rotation. But yeah, Requiem for a Lightweight. I'm going to say this right now. Not the schema week format is starting to get old.
and it's the third
Personally.
episode.
And it's not that it's getting old, but it's like the second episode at least had, like, for me at least, had the flying desk, and you had Hawkeye and Trapper and Frank and Margaret kind of hitting peak Hawkeye, Trapper, and Frank and Margaret, in my opinion. And in this episode, you get a little bit of that, but for some reason, this plot doesn't work for me the same way that, say, oh God, what was the name of the last episode? The heat is getting to me. Whatever, the desk episode.
Market to market.
Yeah, to market to market. It's I think very easily someone else could argue the exact opposite as me and feel the opposite way about both episodes. But for me, this episode, it's good. I like it, but it just doesn't hit the same way as the
Okay,
previous two we
I
watched.
hear you. Counterpoint, you're just upset because Trapper gets the girl.
No, not even. We're gonna talk about that though.
Oh, we're going to
So
talk about that.
yeah. So yeah, episode opens. This one this is one where I kind of want to go back and look at the production order of the episodes, because this one kind of swings back toward big. It has pilot energy. It has, and I know that's weird to say only 3 episodes into the entire series, but it definitely feels a little more. I don't. It's neither good nor bad. It just doesn't have the. It. I can't find the words to describe what I'm trying to say. It's we're 3 episodes in, and 2 of the episodes have centered on a nurse being a bargaining chip for whatever their scheme is. And it's just watching it back for this podcast, it just kind of highlights that more, where it's like, yeah, this is, when do we move past this dynamic? Because I would like to get to the more interesting and fun episodes.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, well, we'll get to my thoughts on it, but yeah, I was not a fan of the kind of uh, background mechanic that's driving all the characters. It is like, yeah, we've seen this gag before. When we get something new and actually, interesting. Because I know we're going to get there, but we're definitely not there yet.
So yeah, we
Well,
get. Oh yeah, go ahead.
no, I mean, I was just gonna say it is only episode 3, and I'm willing to cut him a little bit of slack on that. But yeah, it got so convoluted so quickly, and I don't
I,
know, it did not interest me like the other 2 did.
Yeah, and this is another episode that makes me kick myself that we didn't watch the movie first, because this is very similar to the plot of the movie. Well, to part of the movie where there's essentially replaced the boxing match for a camp football tournament, and you have
Mhm.
the movie, the like the last half of the movie of MASH in
Okay.
this episode. But so yeah, we open up. The wounded are coming into the camp. Hawkeye and Trapper, I forget how kind of blasé the camp is about wounded arriving in the first couple seasons. They're like playing gin rummy, just casually walking toward the helicopter pad while everyone else is like, there's, dying people coming in. Let's be a little more
Radar
proactive.
Well,
Radar
I
is serving as their table.
I
well,
mean, yeah.
that's normal, but I'm watching the scene, the first time around. I don't know why it caught me. Maybe it was just because I was having enjoying a cigar at the time. But they walk out, and it looked to me like Trapper was having himself a cigar, just very laissez-faire. And if you watch that scene back, he's actually chomping down on like a carrot or something. So imagine my shock when they're just playing gin, and he starts just eating his damn cigar while he's walking.
It's funny you should mention that. We're gonna get to something later that made me. I had to watch a scene back like 5 times in complete shock and
Hmm.
disgust. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Hmm.
So they're doing gin. They run into a nurse, ensue casual nurse nudity gag. Which again, I'm not trying to knock MASH because I really do love it, but after watching through the series as many times as I have, those gags get a little old for me personally.
Yeah, it's
But
already old for
again,
me.
but luckily, it gets better, and that's one of the things I love about the show. Is the first season starts a little rough, a little childish, but you can definitely see the diamond in the rough, and I'm glad that they highlighted those aspects and carried those aspects forward into the show going
Yeah,
forward. But I don't
right
have
at
a
a
whole lot more to say about that opening scene other than yep, and we're in the episode now.
Yeah, we're in the episode. Yeah, right at a minute 20, they already established nurses are coming out. They're all dressed, and then new nurse comes out only in a towel. And at a minute 20, I'm like, well, I know exactly where this episode's headed. This is the direction we're going. Alrighty. It's just the most, I don't know, generic. Oh, female member of military runs in directly into the arms of 2 male womanizers. Oh no, what's going to happen from here? Yeah,
Who
okay. All
left
right,
her
let's keep it
towel?
moving. She left her towel. Oh no. Yeah. That was just a yikes from me on the opening scene. Some good bits of dialogue, but yeah, just some yikes.
So yeah, we get into surgery, and I do like they do this. I'm gonna give them credit here. They do establish that not only is she attractive, young, hot nurse, but she is also a good nurse. She works well with the doctors, even though it's played up a little bit by Hawkeye and Trapper.
Yeah.
They do argue she is a genuinely good nurse, and they need her in the camp. Like that is something
Mhm.
they do try to establish.
Yeah. I'm glad they threw that in there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the oh god, the that's yes, Doctor Darling.
Yes,
Oh,
Dr. Dark.
oh,
It's
oh.
this is where I can understand people like my mom who are like, I can't stand Hawkeye. And it's like, there are 1 or 2 moments every couple episodes in the first season or two where I'm like, Hawkeye, please stop.
This is one of the few times I am in agreement with Frank and Hot Lips in this situation. Like, absolutely get that doctor or get that nurse away from him because regardless of what he says, major distraction. She's a major distraction. Even if she's a great nurse, that's fine. They can't work together. It's the same as if, you had uh, two people in a relationship working at a camp like this. I would not have them operate on the same patient or even at the same time. Just separate them and she can stay. It'd be fine. So
Now,
Hot Lips,
I
bit of an
Aren't Frank and
overreaction.
Hot Lips working together?
yeah,
Well,
well,
yes,
Frank and
but
Hot
no.
Lips are yeah. Frank and Hot Lips think no one knows about their relationship.
It's secret.
In Hawkeye's own words in a later episode, the only person that doesn't know about Hawkeye and Frank's Hawkeye. Wow, that's oh god,
Whoa.
oh god. Ooh,
Stop.
back it up. The fanfic
Stop.
writers
Back it
are
up.
gonna go crazy with that. All right, back it up. Oh god, now I'm wondering if there's MASH fanfic. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. We're back. Nope, we're not talking about it. Backing up.
You want to buy
Backing
some
up.
MASH
Nope,
fanfics?
nope. Stop talking. The only person, in Hawkeye's own words, the only person that doesn't know about Frank and Margaret's relationship is General MacArthur's pipe stuffer.
Oh.
I love
There's
that
at
line.
least 2.7. Yeah, there's at least 2,700
No,
MASH
no,
fanfics.
no,
God, he Googled it.
no.
Oh.
Anyway, I am going to break one rule of the podcast I set for myself, and I'm going to mention another MASH podcast, and that's
Oh.
Mashcast.
Mashcast.
I will quickly listen through his episodes right after I watch the episode of the show, because he knows a lot more about the little tiny behind the scenes details and production details than I do. So I do use his podcast as a research tool, but I very, 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 I don't take notes when I listen to it. That way I don't verbatim write down what he says and I just kind of remember information. Like, oh, remember to pull this actor is in a cameo that you wouldn't have noticed because you're a millennial and don't know who that actor is, stuff like that. But he said something I'm going to repeat here, and I just want to make sure I gave him credit for it. Something he pointed out about the nurses in MASH overall throughout the whole series is, yes, in episodes like this, it's like, oh my god, yes, of course she runs into him with the towel off and da-da-da-da-da, and of course they're using her as a bargaining chip, da-da-da, whatever. Never at any point in the series, no matter how goofy Trapper and Hawkeye and eventually, well, not so much BJ, but you never get the sense that the nurses are beholden to the doctors. I very much have always gotten the sense that the nurses can say no at any time and the doctors aren't going to press it. It's played goofy, but it's not played in like that sort of way. At least to my, to the way I read it and understood it.
Yeah.
So
That's
I just wanted to throw that out there because I don't want it to seem like we're like, oh, these doctors are, misogynistic perverts. And it's like a little bit, but they're not. They're not.
They are?
Yeah.
In their
They
own
are,
way, but they're not abusing their station.
There you go. Bingo. You got it.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. But yeah, go check if you're listening to this podcast and don't know about Mashcast. One, how do you not? And two, go listen to him. He's got really good stuff and he has great guests. So all right, so we get through OR. Obviously, Margaret's gonna be Margaret, and she's gonna try to get Nurse Cutler ousted. Nurse Cutler, by the way, I kind of got sidetracked. Nurse Cutler is played by Marcia Strassman, who had some other key acting roles throughout the last century. But the thing that people our age would know her for is Mrs. Zelinsky, the wife of in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
Also a lot of different voice acting roles and stuff, but that's something that I know us three would recognize her from. But she's also been in some other stuff before MASH and after MASH. A couple episodes of The Love Boat, Welcome Back, Cotter, Good Time Harry. So she's been around. But I figured that would be interesting. No, she is from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and of course, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, or whatever the name of it's called. Anyway. So, Hawkeye and Trapper, after surgery, try to corner Nurse Cutler at the same time without realizing it, which is a fun little montage, I think.
Oh, yes.
Already, yes, over there. Yes. I think I had one little thing written down. Poor Frank. My man plants carrots, flowers. I don't know what those are. If they're
Tomato-
supposed to be flowers, they.
They're flowers.
I don't know if he's like trying to grow something or if they're just flowers. If they're just flowers, then very nice. Plants them. Trapper comes up, immediately yoinks all of them, which is a bit. That's a bit much. My man could have at least picked half.
Nope.
And poor Frank walks back out, begins watering without looking down, and to his horror, all of his flowers are gone.
Not
And
even to
then
his horror. He just kind of looks and he's still watering, just like looks around like, where? What?
what? And then he starts watering his pant leg, and it's just the saddest thing ever.
That's
Larry-
what you get for trying to beautify the swamp.
Yeah.
Larry Linville has great little not even dialogue, just great little visual moments like that. He is hilarious as Frank.
He just looks befuddled.
And like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm watching this more analytically or I can express these thoughts to people for the first time without them looking at me weird. I appreciate Frank as a comedic outlet more than I did before watching through the series. Even in just these first 3 episodes, like I appreciate Larry Linville's performance more now that I can kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
man,
Hawkeye.
he broke the gin still. He deserves it.
Oh, that's
I will
true.
die
No,
on this
Frank is evil. Larry Linville is beautiful. Separate the actor from his work, please. Thank
I
you.
refuse.
So you have them show up at her tent at the same time, which leads to one of my favorite lines in the episode is, "I'm not unpacking, I'm packing." She's confused, doesn't know whether she's staying or going, and then Hawkeye drops, "Honey, packing is for leaving. To stay, you have to un." And I don't know why.
Stay, you have to un.
That line
Yeah.
always brings a smile to my face. It's just like, it's such a dumb line, but Alan Alda delivers it so well that it's like, I can't help but
It's funny you
be
say that.
enthralled by that line.
My favorite line of the episode also comes from that scene because Trapper gives her the flowers and Hawkeye in true Hawkeye fashion has stolen a pair of what are they anyhow? What is the technical
Nylons.
nylons? Yeah, stockings. I couldn't think of the term. Gives the stockings to her as a gift and delivers actually these go on your legs, which were that I were they.
What were that I were they? Yes. Although backtracking about a minute in the series of events, when Hawkeye and Trapper meet in front of the tent at the door, and they have that little exchange like, "Oh, the flowers for me," and Wayne Rogers go, only if you put those on." He breaks character again. He very clearly can't get his line out without laughing a little bit. And I don't know if that's an in-character laugh, but based on what we saw last episode, I think that's a genuine little chuckle of, I can't believe I'm about to tell Alan Alda I want to see him in stockings. Like, I love that Wayne Rogers, and I watched through some of the other episodes just in the background while I was working the other night, and there are so many, we have so many moments of Wayne Rogers not being able to control his giggles, and I love it.
Yes. But they come up with a lovely solution to their little fiasco here. We'll share her.
No.
One girl, 2 straws. That has got to be.
We're just going to let that hang in the air for a second.
I was not expecting that. Came out of far a left field so far left it came from the right.
Please don't Google anything sounding like, near, or close to that sentence. Moving on. So clearly, again, this is very similar to the pilot episode. We have this task that we want completed. Let's go to Colonel Blake and see if he can colonel his way out of it. And if he can't colonel his way out of it, by goodness, we're going to Hawkeye and Trapper our way out of it. So we go see Colonel Blake, who...
Oh, we get more radar scenes.
Oh, yes.
We're getting more methods of how radar gets Colonel Blake to sign papers.
I love that Colonel Blake sees Radar come in with his coffee cup, sees him filling his coffee cup, and he gets this little content little smile, reaches for the coffee cup, and then Radar's like, "Sign these, sir," and starts drinking the coffee two-handed from the blank papers. Should I really be signing blank papers?
That's not for me to say, sir. You signed them.
And then while he's on the phone with General Barker, he gets him to sign them anyway because he's distracted. I love Radar so much. Again, we're still in movie mode radar. We haven't gotten Sweet Naive Ottumwa, Iowa radar quite yet, but still love radar to bits.
yeah.
Gary Berghoff plays him so well. And so do I bring this up now? I'm not going to bring it up now. I'm going to save it for a few episodes. There was something I was going to point out, but I'm not going to point it out yet.
All right.
You bastard.
Anyone who has watched MASH enough times know what I was about to point out, and I'm going to save it because there's an episode where I think it is more prevalent to discuss. But anyway.
Well, alrighty then.
I know that made no sense, but it will. So
You're right, it absolutely didn't.
So General Barker we can assume from hindsight that General Barker tells Henry he wants the MASH unit to put up a boxer for the intercamp boxing tournament. And I'll be honest, Henry is a little smart here. He's like, oh, Hawkeye and Trapper need something from me. Well, I need something from them. Let's work this angle.
Well, Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll.
Yep. That is an adequate summarization of them, I think. But so basically, to make a long story short, they argue that Margie Cutler is an attractive woman, but also a competent nurse. And they argue with what?
She's got two of the best hands in the unit.
Yes. But they argue with Henry to get her to stay or to sign that she can, be retransferred to the unit. On the condition that
one of them goes 3 rounds with him.
One of them goes 3 rounds with General Barker's boxer. To which a Trapper and Hawkeye are like, yeah, no, we're good.
The forced laughter really stuck out to me as just
yeah,
cringe.
That's probably the fourth take of that scene.
That seemed like they had been doing it way too many times, and it was just, yeah, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. I don't know. It just stuck out to me as something that just didn't quite fit. Was the especially Trappers. It just seemed overly forced. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Rewinding to when Trapper and Hawkeye are discussing and out in front of the tent. Oh wait, no. Did I go too far? Oh no, my notes are all over the place. But one of my favorite lines was when Trapper and Hawkeye are discussing, right? And Hawkeye is trying to butter up Trapper to get him to, go out and fight the champ that the general's putting up.
Is this when Trapper punches his hand?
It's a little after, but he's trying to convince Trapper that he's got it in him. Like, wow, that was a good slap. But then he says, I think my favorite line, you got a cute body. Some of the guys have been sneaking peeks in calisthenics. He's like, which guys? Oh, I don't want to say.
Some of them are married.
Some of them are married. Frank.
Oh, Frank. So, through sheer persistence, Hawkeye convinces Trapper to fight. And Hawkeye, of course, can't do it because he has, he
has a lame shoulder.
He has a bad shoulder. He's in pain most of the time.
Well, yeah, it's from being spineless. He even says so.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't want to burden his friends.
True. Which leads to the inevitable training montage, to any of our listeners out there who may have done time active in the service, where the fuck do you get a boxing ring? Where did that, is that on the standard inventory list? Is that special services? Do you ship it from Abercrombie and Fitch? Where did they get a boxing ring?
Is a platform, so wooden crates and then plywood over it, 4 tent poles and some rope. That's really all you need.
I do not disagree with that.
Platform. I've seen some of these guys, never in the armed service, mind you, but some of these guys will build these boxing rings at home, and they'll just put down mats, canvas, anything that is somewhat softer, and then 4 poles with some rope around it.
I would agree with you, except that this boxing ring has turnbuckles. It has a solid single piece floor. It's got corner posts. This is a boxing ring. This
I
is
bet your
not.
radar got it for him. I bet you
One of those
anything radar
blank
found it.
papers.
But no, this is sort of a genuine question because, like, is this something that you could get via like the USO or Selective Service, or
Hmm.
is this a thing? Because like I can imagine like okay, like a big army base like Ramstein in Germany, or one of the ones in the States or Japan today having something, a gym, a rec room, a boxing ring,
Yeah.
a pool table. I could see that, but like a frontline unit like a MASH unit, that's just like what? What?
Like, how do you get that there?
And it's in your mess tent, like it's in the way. Like
If a general calls and says he wants to have a boxing tournament, I'm pretty sure that he's also going to supply the means to have the boxing tournament.
that's fair.
Hmm.
That's fair.
Maybe it's a traveling boxing ring.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain it. Then you don't need a boxing ring for every base. You just need one that moves wherever the fight goes.
Yeah. So we have Trapper sparring with Radar, which is a choice.
That
And
I love Radar so much. He's so wholesome.
I'm just now realizing I have almost the exact same fishing pole Henry Blake does, and I'm really happy about that. A yellow
Oh.
pole with the green trim.
Hmm.
Anyway, on a completely unrelated note, I got my fishing license today, and I'm going to be going on a hiking fishing trip in a couple weeks. I'm very excited.
How much did a
So-
California fishing license run you?
10% of your net worth. That's the correct answer.
$54. Yeah.
I cannot believe it has not
More
gone up
expensive.
since the last time.
Yeah,
I
more
looked.
expensive than it should be, but not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. So I'll take it. I'll take the small victory. But Hawkeye tells Henry, "Oh yeah, we're just loosening him up," and Henry's just like, "I'll write his wife."
Is this the first episode we get new Father Mulchay?
Yeah, I was just about to say this is our first episode with William Christopher's Father Mulchay, and I am so excited we get to see him. I think he
drops some facts in this episode.
He drops some fact. He is such a great. I can't wait to. This goes for all the characters, so I'm gonna repeat myself every time we meet a new one. I can't wait for us to go on the journey and see some of the episodes that Father Mulchay centers and stars in, and see because he kind of has the same beats throughout the series, but in different ways and in different situations. And he's one of my favorite characters because he reminds me of my grandmother, because she, not just because my grandmother was Catholic, but where everyone else is dealing with the war in their own way, he still maintains his I don't want to say his purity, because that's not what I mean, but he
maintains his foundations.
He maintains his foundations for the most part. And some of the best episodes with Father Mulchay are where those foundations are kind of challenged. And he has some great, great moments in the series, and I'm so excited for it. We haven't really done this, and I think this is a good episode to do it with, just because I feel like this is collectively kind of of the three we've done so far, kind of a lesser favorite. So I figured we'd take some time. I want to pull up William Christopher and give you just a short little background on some of his works. One, because we haven't really talked about any of the main actors, just because we usually talk about the ones that come in as cameos when they're there, but
yeah.
I figured we'd take this time since he just showed up. We'll talk about William Christopher. Some of his pre-match stuff, he was in a couple, just one or two shows here and there. He was on a couple episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. He had a couple episodes, and I didn't know this. He had 4 episodes of Hogan's Heroes under his belt. He played a couple characters in the background. He was Private Lester Hummel in Gomer Pyle USMC, which is a spin-off of the Andy Griffith Show. And he eventually got picked up. He was on a show called Nichols for a while. He just kind of just an extra actor around
doing stuff, yeah.
And then his big one, he was in 213 episodes of MASH. So he was in most of the episodes. And he and Klinger, who we'll meet in a few episodes, are background characters. They're in camp, but they are kind of the same level as the nurses, where you'll see one or two of them every now and then, or they'll get a speaking part in an episode. And then some episodes they'll just be in the background and not really do anything. But eventually Klinger and Father Mulchay, so William Christopher and Jamie Farr, do become full contracted actors on the show, which is cool to see because I like both of their characters very much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So was Klinger? I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm curious because I've seen him in a couple of episodes. Is he also a doctor, or what is his role?
He is an orderly. So
Okay,
he's essentially he's a U.S. soldier, obviously, but his job is guard. But he also works in the post-op and in the operating room in the hospital as not a nurse, but essentially a nurse's assistant. Going to the lab, getting
Yeah.
X-rays, doing laundry, that kind of stuff.
He's essentially their student worker.
Basically, yes.
well,
And real quick, William Christopher, he was in, and I'm sure once we get to the end of match, 10 years from now, God forbid, we'll want to talk a little bit more about MASH. He was in the very short-lived TV series After MASH. And he was also just a voice actor. And the last thing he did before he passed away was about 11 episodes of the show Days of Our Lives as Father Tobias. So he played a priest again, which, to be fair, he's very good at playing that type of role. But unfortunately, he is one of the MASH casts that we have lost. He passed away December 31st, 2016, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same year we lost Alan Rickman and Carrie Fisher. Is that correct?
2016?
I think so.
That sounds right, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I vaguely remember because my mom and I talked about it that we lost Alan Rickman and we lost Carrie Fisher, and then on New Year's Eve we lost William Christopher, and I'm just like, I'm done. This year needs to be over. But
yeah,
man, it was gonna get so much worse from there.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have Father Mulchay. Now that we've gone on a little Father Mulchay tangent, Father Mulchay, he comes in and he used to coach boxing at the CYO, which I love that. That's a reoccurring thing about his character that's gonna come up, and I love it.
Good.
But coach boxing at the CYO, and Hawkeye asks, "I got any suggestions, Father?" And he just looks up and goes, "Prayer."
Prayers. He'll need one.
I don't think he's got one.
Yeah. And then Radar punches him in the stomach, and apparently that's enough to bring.
Not even that hard because it's Radar.
Well, then he does that little twirl. He's in the zone.
Radar. He is. I love he does the punch and spin.
Punch and spin. I'll try spinning. That's a neat trick.
Oh God!
I gotta say though, these guys are drinking what is essentially day-old paint thinner. How is the stomach the weak point?
How is it not?
One word. Flab.
We get more training montage of the Rocky style running through camp.
Okay,
and I
will say.
How far have I run? 30 feet.
That'll do it. I will say that is one of my favorite just images appearing on my screen is just Radar chauffeuring around Hawkeye in bathrobe and just sipping on a martini. Like, we don't even see Trapper running behind him. We're just like, oh, he's just ferrying him around. Oh no, Trapper's there too. He's just running behind. Like, oh, okay. I wouldn't mind more of just Hawkeye being chauffeured around like some royalty. It just fits him so well.
And then we get the punching bag scene.
Oh man.
They're punching
Frank's bag?
Yep.
Yeah, they're punching Frank's bag. Margaret walks by, and Hawkeye's like, oh, you can't even look at women until after the fight. And Margaret has this moment of, we'll see later in the season, where she's kind of like, she's all about military rules, but she also has this weird, like, men doing man things turns me on. So she's like looking at Trapper like, oh, but of course. And then she realizes it's Frank's duffel. And he's like, wait a minute, is that Frank's bag? I thought you were Frank's bag. And then she does one of her little Margaret, like,
oh, Frank entered my mind space again. Oh, Frank.
Well, that look, that she gets of just sheer shock and disbelief that you would say that to her. That
dare
little,
you say such
the lip quivering, just damn.
I lived for those moments as a cashier. Like, oh, you're gonna be angry? Watch, I'm gonna make you even angrier with 3 sentences. I live for that moment. Then General Barker shows up with his fighter, who, in Radar's words,
oh my God,
this man is a unit.
If he wanted to, he could be a platoon.
I sympathize with him. heavily, having been described as a brick shit house a time or two.
Oh God.
Hmm.
I just
That
really connect with his character. What can I say?
that actor's name, he has one acting credit, and it's this.
Oh.
His
Oh.
name is Mike McGurr, and his other claim to fame is he was a minor league football player for the Honolulu Hawaiians.
Oh,
So there
very
you go.
cool.
Hence the absolute unitness of his build.
Yeah. Hawkeye,
But
this guy knocks out Jeeps.
and
Uh,
they sneak a peek at him training, and yeah, this man is
an absolute unit.
this man is thick with 3 C's and none of it fat. So
Nope.
they devise a genius plan.
He's the definition of corn-fed American GI.
Corn-fed American G. Oh
If he
Lord.
wanted to, he could be a platoon.
Yes.
Mhm.
So they come up with I don't know how ether works, so I assume this would work if you soak the glove enough.
I mean, they're treating it like it's
Chloroform.
chloroform, which, disclaimer, that's not how ether or chloroform works, by the way. You can't just shove it in someone's face and go, okay, now breathe it in and pass out. That's not how it works. Yeah, that'll cause brain damage, and yeah, don't do that. Do not try this at home, kiddos. Coming from your friendly lab tech.
But this is also you're showing this to an audience of laymen's, so it works for the story. But
it's Hollywood science. It works.
But I will say
don't look into
this: in future episodes, we're gonna have. I know there's at least one episode where, because of a supply problem, they have to use ether as anesthetic.
Oh.
And they actually have. That's actually a concern of, hey, this is a flammable gas. This is a flammable gas. We need to ventilate the room so we don't pass out. And if we administer too much, we could kill these patients. Like, it becomes a plot point when they use it correctly. So again, another thing where the early seasons are kind of loose, but the later seasons are kind of tight with some of their subject matter and material and ways they do things.
Very cool.
We get Ugly John for a whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
I did see him for a minute.
That ugly.
That is a downer that we don't get more Ugly John, because he is kind of a fun character. But I also understand that by the end of this season, they did have to start being like, okay, we literally brought almost all the characters from the movie. Let's start
narrowing it down.
Yeah, paring it down for a TV show, which is sad, but it is what it is.
It is a necessity in the end.
I love Trapper and Hawkeye's. I wish we could just use a horseshoe. A horseshoe is gauche. Ether is subtle. Then let's dip the horseshoe in ether. It's like
both worlds.
Best of both worlds. So the whole plan is soak the glove in ether, get him in a clinch, and have him pass out from the ether's fumes. Now, we've discussed the ether side of this being potentially not working or dangerous. How effective would getting a man that size in a clinch be, resident boxer Wilson?
So here's the thing. I've done enough light sparring to know I am usually the big guy on this side, which means most of my boxing experience is with guys that are about 5'6" that kind of have the David and Goliath complex. They view me as the enemy just because I am tall. Which is not to say, it's all bad experiences, but you definitely go with those people. And so they aren't going for the clinch. They're going for the knockout punch. They're going to get you down. Now, mind you, that's with people with a lot of experience. If there was someone, say, 5'8", 5'10", who is trying to get me in a clinch I don't want to be in, and it's early in the rounds, like, let's say, third round or before, I get him in the gut and I get away. I mean, it's easy to break out of one of those things if you still have your wind with you and you don't want to be there. And 9 times out of 10, you really don't, unless you're going for the gut or, God forbid, a kidney punch, which don't do. That's me.
Yeah.
All right. And that's been your fight analysis from ESPN 8, the Ocho.
The Ocho. Now for your fight analysis from a complete layman. That's a big boy, and if he doesn't want to be anywhere near Trapper, he doesn't have to be.
Next
Big-
on ESPN 8, cockfighting.
Wait.
Stick around.
That one just kind of slipped out there.
So we get to meet General Barker.
We
Who
do. We do.
So, Wilson,
Yo,
do you recognize General Barker?
why do I? Okay, so we talked about this earlier in a private call for our listeners out there, and Red was
You
kind of
know-
titillating me with some insider information.
I'm surprised you didn't jump up and go, "Oh my god." You know, Ethan, for someone who's a good old boy, who doesn't mean any harm, and is often in trouble with the law, I would have hoped you recognized Boss Hogg
Boss
more
Hogg?
immediately.
Oh my god!
That is actor Sorrel Book, and he is known for playing Boss Hogg in the original Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh.
You need to cut me some slack here. Mustache, hair. He changed his voice. Oh my god!
I love. So I'm gonna read a comment from one of our viewers later who doesn't like General Barker. I can't believe we only got General Barker for 2 episodes because I really like General Barker. I love his name. I love it. I love General Barker. We get him in the next episode as well, and that's actually an episode I'm going to rate very highly. Spoiler alert, because I like it. Kind of breaks the schema week cycle, and I am here for it. But that's next episode. So yeah, we get General Barker and his fighter.
Sergeant Flacker.
And he shakes Trapper's hand in a genuine move of like sportsmanship, and apparently his grip is too much because Trapper has to pull caveman lingo. Me doctor, need hand.
Doctor, need hands
Operate.
to operate.
Although you could just look into Flacker's eyes and tell that there's some malice.
There's
in there.
nothing there.
I think he needed a hug when he was a kid, and he didn't get it, and here we are.
Now he's going to give the hug, whether you want him to or not.
Can we rustle up some steaks for the sergeant? Yeah, Ditsbury, you want to go get Flacker a cow?
He actually gets up and leaves to go get him a cow.
He's like,
Mm-hmm.
So the shoe drops, and they let Henry know that they're going to cheat and use ether, to which Frank, of course, isn't a fan.
That's their biggest mistake in this episode. Why would you ever let Frank know? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why would you ever think that's a good idea? That is, I don't want to say it's a plot hole, but that is Hawkeye being smooth brain, big smooth brain right here.
I don't think
Very smooth
that
brain.
Frank was supposed to know. I think that I believe if we're getting into the minds of the characters, Hawkeye just tunes him out as much as possible. So I would be inclined to believe that he genuinely forgot Frank was there.
That and Henry's, I love it, but I don't want to know about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fight night comes. I love that we get a little bit of scheming on the part of Margaret and Frank.
Yes,
They're
doing some scheming of their own.
They're able to pull one over on Hawkeye and swap out the ether, which is hilarious to me. And then we get the ring announcements by Father Mulchay, and I love that they have like the surgical lights as the ring lights.
Yeah. I think you got Kid Doctor in one corner and just Killer in the other.
Killer.
It's Kid Doctor written in tape on the back of his kimono, which is so much better.
Okay, so we've come to the thing I wanted to point out earlier. So for those of you that don't know, there's another podcast that I work with. I'm their audio video editor and tech / I occasionally talk on mic when I'm prompted to, or not, whatever. And that is the Beyond the Humidor podcast. It is a cigar podcast that my dad and his buddies do. And I don't know if it's because
the rest of us.
Yes, a cigar podcast for the rest of us, for the common man. You should go check it out. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all that jazz. But I don't know if it's because I've been doing more stuff with them or because this is the first time I've really watched the season and paid attention to it since I became a cigar smoker a few years ago. Radar, Gary Berghoff is not smoking the cigar in his mouth. First of all, Radar smoking a cigar, which is a huge. This is one of those things that's going to get retroactively rolled back by season 2. But if you watch Radar and his cigar, he doesn't have the cigar in his lips or in his front teeth. He's got like half that Lancero cigar
it's
down his
deep in the
cheek. He
it's
is
deep in there.
gnawing on that cigar. And he's probably had that cigar in his mouth for like 5 takes of these
Yep.
shots. That
is a juicy cigar. That is a moist cigar.
No me gusta, Mr. Krabs. No, I don't like it. I
That is
don't
a
like it.
soggy stick right there.
Ooh, soggy. That's gonna
Well
be
masticated.
And it's through the whole. I had to literally go back and watch the fight scene and just watch Gary Berghoff commit tobacco abuse. So there you go. For any cigar smokers out there, I'm glad I pointed that out to you, and it's all you'll be able to see watching this episode now. So I wanted to point out the weights for this fight are 260 pounds versus 175.
all of it hard.
That seems unfair.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you set Trapper.
Oh Lord.
No, so that is, as I understand it, that is heavyweight versus heavyweight versus super middleweight.
Is that the 175 super middle?
Once super middle is 168 to 175.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
175 being light heavyweight, but anything over 200 is heavyweight. So
Oh boy.
heavyweight versus super middleweight. No me gusta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fight starts, and I love Wayne Rogers just comes out of the corner with his arm just outstretched. Just like, here
that's
it is.
attacking. Just there it is. Get it, sniff it.
Then he resorts to just running around the ring.
Yes. That's an unorthodox fighting style your boy's got. He's still on his feet, isn't he? Which, like, how true is that? Like, you can be a crappy fighter as long as you don't go down.
Yeah, what was Flacker's introduction? 97 wins, 0 losses, 3 arrests.
3 arrests. Yeah.
Yep.
God, I hate that you pointed out to me that he's Boss Hog, because now I can't look.
Now that's all you can see.
It's all I can see. Yes. It's them Duke boys again. Anyway.
So very clearly, very quickly, Hawkeye realizes something's not right. And I love that I just keep seeing Gary Berghoff chewing on the cigar, and I hate it.
Yeah, he's really gnawing on it, isn't he?
Hawkeye the whole time.
Yeah, he's chewing down on it.
His reactions are really cute, some of his grimaces, and good for you, Gary. My little Gare Bear.
Don't call no. Anyway. I love how Hawkeye very quickly realizes something is wrong, and he just looks at Frank, and he's like, yeah, it's Frank.
It's got to be Frank. It's got to be Frank.
Well, I love he realizes this by sniffing what he is, what could be ether. It's an ether bottle. Just taking a big old whiff.
Yeah. Oh, side note, if you're ever not sure what something is, you need to sniff it to find out. Don't do what Hawkeye does. Instead, hold the container about 1 to 2 feet away from you and take 2 fingers and whirl them in a circle to get some of the air and the scent flowing towards you, but don't stick your schnauzer directly into the container and take a big old whiff. That's how you get brain damage.
No big snuff. Got it.
No big snuff with schnauz. Don't do that.
Thank you, Lab Tech. Very cool.
Thank you,
Anytime.
Lab Tech. Very cool. So Hawkeye comes back with the ether. Luckily, Trapper's able to get back up before the 10 count both times, which is a miracle to me.
Well, he's got motivation.
There you go. I love how Trapper's just confused. Like, all right, they take this and stick it in his face, and he just looks at Hawkeye, whose face? And then the bell rings and he's off.
And he's off to the races.
So finally, he's able to get him in a clinch and I love the very overly dramatic dubbed over sniffs.
The sniffs stand out so much. You're like, wait a minute, it's just, general boxing match, and then just over the top of it, like some Someone forgot. Oh yeah, we need him to know that he's sniffing it, right? Hey, throw a couple like sniffed on MP3s in there. No one will
It's
notice the
not
difference.
MP3.
Come here, big guy. Time to depress your central nervous system.
Oh God. And this
Yeah.
leads to probably my favorite moment in the whole episode.
Mm.
Flacker goes back for a punch, falls out of the ring directly onto Frank and Margaret, and we get just
Margaret's
we get
constant
40
is
yeah, we get
beautiful.
40 seconds of Margaret just screaming, leading up to
Nonstop.
the one where she finally pushes him off her onto her legs, and she just goes. I love it
Yeah.
so much. It's such a dumb scene.
It's the comedy of Margaret and Frank is well done. It's very well done.
And something subtle, and this is something where I don't know if it was a choice by the actor or it was written by the writers or it was some combination of the two. If you watch Father Mulchay count the 10 count, he's doing it as a cross. He's doing it like a blessing. So he does 1 through 9 on the vertical, and on 10 he does the cross across. And it's such a great character moment. I love it so much.
Oh, that's
8,
great.
9, 10. It's so stupid.
He plays such a good father. It's so perfect for him.
Then we get the outro scene. We got a big steak on Wayne Rogers' face. What? I've never known. Why do you put meat on your face after you? Like,
It's
what?
cold.
That's the only. It's cold. That's it.
It's not just meat. It's just the idea that a compress like that, or like frozen peas, it can be cold on every single area. Like you can press it up and it can be cold against
Okay.
everything.
So it's just a malleable cold thing. That's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, does the meat juice have healing properties? I never understood the
Yeah.
point of.
Give it a suckle.
No, if you want to do this cleanly, use frozen peas. Like you have to bash them so they aren't a big old lump, but those
Well,
work.
in like a minute, we see that Nurse Cutler has an old cloth like ice pack that she's like. They have an ice pack. Why are you wasting at a mash unit with dehydrated food? Why are you wasting a perfectly good steak? What
Oh,
is
I
Because
can eat that
it's
steak.
not a perfectly good steak. It's a prescription steak.
I'd still barbecue that steak right up. Wayne
Oh, of
Rogers,
course.
no.
Absolutely.
So Henry lives up to the bargain. Margie Cutler's back, and I love that he whispers to her, "Keep moving, or you're dead."
That was a nice little sideline dialogue. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And she's all enamored with Trapper because he fought for her. And I want you guys to scroll to where she starts talking to Trapper and watch Wayne Rogers through this whole scene because there's
slowly take center stage.
no watch because there's a very clear overdub where his lips don't move at all.
Really?
Yeah, and it's every time I see it, it throws me off. It's true, you fought for me. That's right.
Oh,
It's well, I should hope so. He's literally just sitting there staring with this dumb, drunken look on his face, and his voice from the ethereal ether just goes, "Well, I should hope so." It's very. It just throws me off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is very bizarre. Huh. Ugh. That is awful. They could have at least done it where it was voiced when we couldn't see him. That's how you're supposed to. But yikes. Yeah, it's a bit of an oversight. Bit of an oversight right there.
the power of his concussion is so strong.
He
Wait,
can
no.
project his voice.
This is evidence. Trapper's telekinetic. Wait, no. Telepathic. Trapper's telepathic.
Yes, he's telepathically communicating this to the audience.
Yeah.
50 years later. Good.
This is evidence
Good.
right here. Yeah, here you go, champ. Yeah, beat up a big man and get hot, nurse woman. This is how the world works. There you go.
And then yes, we do have where Hawkeye slowly gets shoved out of the scene, and Trapper takes center stage, and Trapper gets the girl. So yeah, that's nice.
That's nice.
I'm sure we'll get more of that in the future.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I'm sure we will.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
so yeah, Requiem for a Lightweight. What are your overall thoughts now that we've dissected?
Some gems in the rough. but a lot of
Mhm.
rough.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's not a
Yeah,
bad episode, but it's like, man,
yeah, a lot of
we
rough
I
can get to the
bits.
good stuff.
I promise that, when we're a few seasons in, I will have completely forgotten about this episode except for two jokes. I thought you were Frank's bag, and the scene where Flacker falls out and just crushes the crowd. I promise those are the only things I'm going to remember.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I genuinely feel that to some people, this episode is as good as we think to market is, and they think to market's as good as we think I could see
Mhm.
where, depending on just what you find funny and what you like, you could easily flip these two episodes, but something about to market has just a little extra something that this episode doesn't have, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It may or may not be the desk dangling from a helicopter. It might be a character like Charlie Lee. I don't know, but
Might
it's
be a
just there's
combination.
something.
Yeah,
So before I
yeah.
read the audience ones, what are our out of fives for this one? And reasons for and such.
Hmm. I think I'm gonna give this one a 2.5. My lowest score so far.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Just perfectly
more,
average.
just more moments that I didn't enjoy compared to previous episodes, but a similar amount of moments I did enjoy. I think so. While there were still some good moments, there were just more moments that I did not vibe with. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it is an episode.
It is an episode, yes.
Mhm.
How
Some
about
would
you,
even call
Wilson?
it one of the first.
Uh, you know, I'm going a shade lower. I'm giving this a 2 out of 5, and
Wow.
I know it's only episode 3, but I'm not going to give the same allowance I did for the first two for being the opening episodes of the show. It was too regimented. What's the term I'm looking for here?
Formulaic.
Yes, thank you. It's just far too formulaic for my liking, and unlike to market, in my opinion, the jokes did not counteract what was a completely forgettable plot with characters that
Hmm.
ultimately, like, I mean, with a problem that will ultimately never matter again in the show. Just
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm ready to put it out of mind.
Yeah, no lasting impact, really. Yeah.
Exactly. So 2 out of 5 for me.
Okay. For me, I was gonna give it a 2.5, but I gave it just I gave it just a smidge more at 2.6. I know I'm getting really nitty gritty with my
Really
ratings,
getting
but
pulling out some numbers
I'm
there.
pulling out some numbers, and I gave it the little extra bump just because the jokes that did hit,
Hmm.
and we get William Christopher's Father Mulchay, like, which is not which is a
That is a
non-reason for
plus.
giving it an extra 0.1, but you know what? It's Father Mulchay. But yeah, for me,
No,
the fact
still a plus. Yeah,
it is a very average, like, yep, it is an episode. So
it is.
that's my opinion anyway.
What's
Yep.
the audience's opinion?
So some of the audience opinions from Instagram, we have the Cigar Sportsman. This would be
Ooh.
host Greg of Beyond the Humidor
Oh,
Mm.
chiming
I'm
in.
flattered he
Uh,
chimed in.
I give it a 2.5. This is not one of my
Ah.
favorites. The plot is a bit odd and doesn't really fit with the rest of the series. Never really liked General Barker either. Which,
Mm.
You take that
okay,
back, boss hog.
you can't. I get where he's coming from, but we only get General Barker for 2 episodes, this episode and episode 4. And I really, we'll talk about it next podcast episode, obviously, but I do like episode 4 a lot for a couple different reasons, but we'll get there when we get there. As far as doesn't really fit into the series, I agree, but it does, I will give it credit. It fits with the current season 1 theme of Scheme a Week, Hogan's Heroes esque.
Yes,
So
it
so it
does
fits,
fit with the theme.
but yeah, I do agree. The series overall definitely not in the same marching to the beat of the same drum. So
No, I
on
would. Yeah.
on the oh, hang on the Twitters, on the tweet place, this lightsaber kills fascists gives it a 3 out of 5.
Oh.
Another early series scheme of the week. that's still trying to find its footing. Amusing, but a little too Hogan's Heroes-esque, and I love that description style is catching on because I think that's a great
Is
way to
catching on.
I'm just glad that this lightsaber kills fascists is coming back for more.
Some people left comments, but without leaving a rating. So, excellent episode, especially when Frank and Margaret switch out the ether. Chief Smash Forever also gives it a 3 out of 5, saying that good early episode gives you a look at what the series may have been if Wayne Rogers got more episodes to shine. Definitely some very funny moments, especially the boxer falling on Margaret and Frank. Keep the hijinks episodes going. Keep the hijinks episodes going like from the first two. So it's continuing the theme we know, which again, there's good points to that and some not good points to that. But we will see. Donut Eater 111, another 3 out of 5 story, was a bit too much of the typical sitcom plot for my taste, but it still had some great moments. A rare episode where Trapper gets a lot to do and even gets the best moment of the episode in his opinion with the Frank's bag line, and Nurse Cutler was a great addition to the season 1 cast, which I do also agree with. Don Tincher, best part is Hawkeye conning Trapper when he punches his hand and Hawkeye covers his ears. Thomas Glovier says, I always thought there should have been more Ugly John. I also don't disagree. I do like his character. I wish we did get a little bit more of him. John DH says, I didn't like that they cheated with a smiling emoji, so I'm thinking that's a bit of sarcasm. And Skippy alludes to something I said earlier. It's a great spiritual sequel to how they dealt with a character called Superbug in the football game in the movie. So yeah, it is kind of, I've mentioned it is kind of following that the camp is going up in a competition. We gotta come up with a way to win this so we can
even the odds somehow. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So yes, episode 3. I'll save the reading out the ratings until we get a little further into we'll maybe do a halfway through season 1 checkpoint and see where we are. But I don't surprise everyone based on the numbers I just read out. This is our lowest rated episode so far.
Yeah, it is very much so.
But I promise there are good things to come. So
I am aware of the amazing things that we're gonna get, but it's not the destination, it's the journey.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That is very true.
So yeah, the next episode is Chief Surgeon Who, and I am excited because this does break, in my opinion, the Schema Week Hogan's Heroes sitcom format a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a different plot than we've seen so far. So I am looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Any thoughts before we head out?
No, not really. Just something to look forward to for the next episode, I guess. Yeah.
Excellent.
The next gonna be a good one.
Yeah, the next couple episodes are going to be weird too, because I know 2 of the 3 of us are all 3 of us at some point between now and the next recording are traveling. And then the 5th episode, I'm hoping to have a guest on. It's going to be hectic.
Big things are happening. Big things.
Well, Wilson, drive safely, or at least drive and don't get caught on your way to Kansas.
6 hours straight. This will be my longest drive by 6 hours.
And you're towing a trailer with a LeSabre?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Gross.
And on that note, good luck, Wilson, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
The time has come for us to say sayonara. My heart will always be yours for eternity.